According to the SEO, 8.5 billion Google searches occur each day. How would you feel if I told you that each and every one of those searches leads to environmental damage and the destruction of ecosystems? Artificial intelligence, which Google has implemented into their search engine, is one of the easiest ways of damaging our world without even knowing. With a deep understanding of AI, we will talk about the concerns and social challenges that could affect our environment. AI is becoming increasingly popular, being used multiple times a day by the majority of the population. The growing reliance on AI is causing significant environmental concerns. First, let's determine the problem. The use of artificial intelligence is significantly damaging our environment. While the use of AI is becoming almost impossible to avoid, it raises the question of how this can cause issues, specifically relating to our environment. For example, the use of water, a resource that is becoming increasingly more scarce, is a resource required and consumed for AI. Because of the billions of calculations and programming required for AI to run, a lot of heat is produced. To cool down the machine, water is utilized. According to the United Nations Environmental Program, AI-related infrastructure may soon consume 6 times more water than Denmark, a country of 6 million people. AI also requires rare earth elements such as scandium and yttrium. These elements are extremely limited and are often mined unsustainably, according to the UNEP. Finally, the electronic waste produced by data centers often contain hazardous substances like mercury and lead, which are toxic to the environment. Resource depletion, unsustainable mining practices, and hazardous e-waste all have detrimental effects on the environment. While the depletion of water resources directly impacts the water landscape and biodiversity within those landscapes, it also directly takes clean water away from human consumption. As seen in the graphic posted by UFC Riverside News, AI data centers not only consume water for cooling at the data centers, but the power plants used to fuel these data centers are also using water for cooling. This is because heat is produced at both of these plants when they run, and they take cool water from natural water resources in order to prevent them from overheating. This consumes vast amount of water, which is then released from cooling towers as steam, often depleting the water source. In a world where clean water is not always accessible, why should we be using what is available on non-essentials such as AI data centers? Equally concerning, the unsustainable mining of rare earth elements releases pollutants into the atmosphere and causes habitat destruction. Again, biodiversity and the environmental health of the world are sacrificed for AI. Mercury and lead produced by these data centers also contaminate the environment. Overall, the process of building and using artificial intelligence is drastically harming the environment and the ecological integrity of the Earth. These growing environmental concerns as a result of AI use leads to the desire for a solution, which will be discussed by Kaya.
AI companies and data centers need to start using better mining practices, circular economy strategies, and most importantly, use alternative cooling systems to preserve water supply. While there is still much more learning to do regarding the damages AI is playing on the environment, these things companies can do now can change how they impact the environment forever. Unfortunately, when it comes to sustainable mining practices, there's not a one-size-fits-all. With that being said, there are still things mining companies can do to become more sustainable and have less of a damaging effect on the environment. An article released by Empowering Pumps and Equipment shared 5 tips on how mining companies can become more sustainable. 1. Lower impact mining. 2. Reuse mining waste. 3. Eco-friendly mining equipment. 4. Rehabilitating mining sites. And 5. Shutting down illegal mining. Doing things like reusing mining waste for on-site construction to fill voids can prevent erosion and need to bring more materials onto site. Rehabilitating around mining sites is one of the most environmentally friendly practices these companies can do, by reusing waste from the mines to fill excavated areas, as well as reseeding and watering to promote plant and animal life back to the area. Expanding on the ideas of more sustainable mining practices is how to reduce the waste of electronic waste AI tech companies are putting into the environment. One suggested solution to increasing AI sustainability is through a circular economy. The Harvard Business Review completes this idea by saying, rethinking resource use, extending the lifespan of AI hardware, and developing robust recycling systems, businesses can not only reduce their environmental footprint, but also drive innovation and competitiveness. Some key words from this quote are rethinking resource use and recycling. These are the main driving factors for a circular economy. A circular economy is known as a model of production and consumption, which involves sharing, leasing, reusing, repairing, refurbishing, and recycling existing materials. Using a circular economy leads to extending lifespan of materials and minimizing waste and pollution put into the earth. While more sustainable mining and reusing electronic pieces are made to give back to the environment, AI tech companies are still taking a major resource from the earth, and that's water. Like stated before, many AI tech companies are using water to cool down their systems from overheating. I do have good news for you though, and that is there are other cooling systems being used today that do not need water. Systems like immersion cooling, direct air cooling, indirect air cooling, and recently the ZutaCore direct-to-chip technology are all being used to prevent overheating without the use of water on AI systems. Forbes released an article discussing immersion cooling with the importance and benefits of it. The description for immersion cooling was said as a cutting-edge approach that involves submerging IT components such as servers or entire racks in a dielectric, inert, non-conductive fluid. This fluid effectively absorbs and dissipates heat generated by the components, providing a highly effective cooling system. Immersion cooling systems recirculate the dielectric fluid through the system to constantly cool pieces used by AI. Next are direct and indirect cooling systems, and much like the name insinuates, direct and indirect cooling system use the natural resource of air to cool off tech pieces. Planet Tracker describes the two systems being direct air is cooling is possible in cold climates using natural cold air from the outside filtered through a system, or passing the air through a refrigerant unit that's known as indirect cooling. These systems run much like an air conditioner, using no water and often more efficient to use over time due to their ability to absorb more heat per volume. Lastly, a new system being used is the ZutaCore two-phase direct-to-chip technology. The system uses less power and no water on some of the hottest AI accelerators tested. An article released by ZutaCore itself states that due to their closed-loop system, the heat transfer liquid does not need to be replaced and poses none of the risks that water presents in terms of leakage and corrosion. The ZutaCore hypercool system can use the heat produced by the tech to heat other buildings and reuse all the materials within its closed system. The urge for AI companies and data centers to adopt better mining practices, circular economic strategies, and alternative cooling systems is necessary to mitigate environmental damage. Mining for raw materials used in AI microchips has significant environmental consequences. By implementing sustainable practices such as reusing materials, using more eco-friendly equipment, and overall supporting the rehabilitation of plant and animal life in mining areas can reduce these effects. Additionally, a circular economy approach can extend the lifespan of AI tech and promote recycling, ultimately decreasing electronic waste. In addition to unsustainable mining and electronic waste in landfills, AI tech companies heavily rely on water for cooling their systems, which further strains natural supplies. Fortunately, alternative cooling systems like immersion cooling, air-based cooling, and ZutaCore's direct-to-chip technology offer water-free solutions that improve efficiency while reducing environmental harm. By embracing these changes, AI companies can minimize their ecological footprint while maintaining technological advantages. While finding a solution to the environmental damages for AI technology seems easy, we have to be conscious of the challenges these changes would bring up. And Jasmine is going to talk about those now.
AI's impact on the environment presents both significant challenges and complex solutions. In discussing the practicality of AI affecting the environment, we have to consider the challenges. AI in sensitive areas could affect citizens' privacy, and it could cause various issues including water usage, electronic waste, and increased energy consumption. With the high demands of electricity that is used for AI models, it could lead to a strain on the municipal water supplies and add indirect environmental impacts from the manufacture and transport. One of the key challenges facing AI solutions is problems relating to privacy and personal data protection. Even though there are some advantages with AI, there are also some disadvantages relating to cybersecurity and ethical issues. For example, in Kumar's article, Top 15 Challenges of AI in 2025, the surveillance system that AI powers are a privacy concern. Additionally, the bias could lead to unfair treatment and discrimination in critical areas like law enforcement, hiring procedures, loan approvals, and etc. A solution to this issue is to establish ethical guidelines and develop ways to not spread bias. In addition to fixing these problems, we will also need to promote principles that could also help with reliability and safety of AI systems. The reason why people might want AI sustainable solutions is because of the growing concern of increased energy consumption, water usage, and electronic waste. Addressing these challenges would require an efficient approach, including technological innovations that could help. Eliminating AI is more of a complex issue at first glance, as our society heavily relies on AI on a daily basis. Additionally, it will be a challenge to dismantle AI without negatively impacting our environment and personal lives. Now we will discuss how complex AI can be with Delana.
Thank you, everybody. In conclusion, AI is much more complex than what most people think. While one of the greater effects of AI is an environmental effect, AI contributes to water depletion, unsustainable mining, and hazardous e-waste, causing significant harm to ecosystems and biodiversity. With that being said, AI companies must adapt sustainable practices. Some of these practices include implementing eco-free and lower-impact mining methods and embracing circular economy strategies to extend hardware lifespan and reduce e-waste. Also, they must transition to alternative water-free cooling systems, which could include immersed cooling or even air-based strategies. Addressing AI's environmental impact is complex because of the such high energy demand and potential privacy and ethical concerns, but there needs to be a change. To ensure that AI technologies evolve responsibly, ethical guidelines and fairness principles must be established to prevent bias and safeguard personal data. It is important to consider the relevance of fostering growth in AI systems in a responsible, socially, and ecologically sustainable manner. Green AI companies have kept their ecological destruction to a minimum by adopting less environmentally costly practices, like greenway mining and cooling systems, while attempting to maintain profitability. They are also following additional environmental sustainable business designs, particularly known as circular economy models. In addition to these strategies, sustainability concerns are also strategies where AI ethics ensure fairness and discrimination-free AI usage. Through effective legal restrictions placed on environmental and ethical practices, AI has the capability of transforming itself from an artifact of creativity into a vigilant supporter of global sustainability. As a consequence, it is possible for society to capitalize on the effectiveness, decision-making, and process of technology without undermining the health of the ecosystem. It is necessary for AI corporations, decision-makers, and other interested parties to address environmental and sustainable issues together. Thank you so much for listening to our speech about AI. We hope you enjoyed. Every time.